Not my usual type of video, but Pokemon Day is just a few days away, and I want to get my thoughts out there on the types of things that I'm predicting and probably just coping about. Every year on the 27th of February, we have a Pokemon Direct, which gives us news about the current Pokemon products and sneak peeks at what's to come. This video is mostly going to be unscripted as I just want to get my thoughts out there, but I'll give some decent visuals. But yeah, let's talk about what I think we can see in the Pokemon Direct and my hopes. If you enjoyed this video at any point in time, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. With that, let's get into the video. But not before I plug my YouTube channel memberships. If you click the join button, not only do you get access to bonus videos every week and access to my podcast with Jody Azzarelli, but you also can join my members only Discord where we team build and discuss Pokemon broadly. You also get a badge by your name in the comments and in my live streams, and you get to see your name at the end of videos. Lots of cool perks there, so consider supporting me with the channel membership. Now back to the video. All right, we're going to start off with the stuff that I care a little bit less about. We're definitely getting some TCG Pocket content. We're definitely getting Pokemon Go and Pokemon Cafe Remix news, as well as Pokemon Unite and Pokemon Sleep. But I'm mostly going to be concerned with the main series. As far as like TCG Pocket goes, though, I mean, it's obvious we're going to get some news about future expansions. I think the recent expansion was like the Dialga Palkia expansion, so we have a decent amount of Sinnoh Pokemon. We also have a decent amount of the original 151 with the original drop from the game and whatever expansions came after that. There were a few small ones, like mini expansions, like the Mew one. But I would assume that, like, even though we have a lot of modern Pokemon in right now, I would think that now that we have a lot of like the DS era and previous covered, we're probably going to get like Gen 5 and Gen 6 Pokemon. Maybe we'll see like an Alola drop. I don't know. It'd be cool to get like the Guardian Deities in there from Alola, but I'm not super concerned with TCG Pocket. As far as Pokemon Go is concerned, I mean, usually around this time we get news about the next generation that's getting added. They've already done Alola. I believe we're looking at Generation 8 now. I think we're going to probably get Galar Pokemon, maybe. Are we already at Generation 9, maybe? I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, we're just definitely going to get that. Cafe Remix, I could care less about. Pokemon Unite, I'm pretty sure, like, Suicune either just got added or whatever, and, you know, Pokemon Sleep, that's, like, for the real hardcore Pokemon fans that want to envelop their entire life in the franchise. But what I want to talk about is Pokemon Legends ZA and the release of that game. Now, Pokemon Legends ZA is interesting because it is a mainline title. I mean, like, they've always referred to the Legends franchise as main series games, which I could see why they call it that, but it's not. It's like the main series is like traditional Pokemon games, and like if Game Freak wants to call it the main series, I mean, so be it. So be it. I mean, it's a main series game, sure, why not? I think that just mostly has to do with like the timeline and the continuity, though. But it's mostly a spinoff. Generation 10 is what I would consider like the main series, if we ever get any news of that, and I will cover that in a second here. But as far as Legends ZA goes, we got our first sneak peek of it last year on Pokemon Day, I think. But we've heard very little about it. We did know it was going to drop in 2025, so we are already within the release year of this game. But here's something notable about that. The last time we got a Legends game, it was not our November release. I believe our like holiday 2022 release was, or it might have been 2021, but it was Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. A traditional Pokemon game is typically the holiday release because they know it's going to do well. It's like not a risk. And then we actually had Pokemon Legends Arceus release in January, which is not the holiday season anymore at that point. It is just another game releasing like in the early part of the fiscal year. So that's notable because as far as the release date for Legends ZA goes, I really doubt it's going to be their holiday 2025 release. I don't think that's the case. I am pretty sure that we're going to get it either in late spring or early summer, and that's just my general prediction. I could be completely wrong. For all I know, it's going to come out in November, which I'd be a little disappointed with that, because we actually haven't had a lot of Pokemon content dropping. And I know that there's going to be people who are like, oh, Pokemon fans, they just want more and more and more, and the games keep like just sucking because of that. But I mean, this game's been worked on for quite a while. I would at very least like to see a trailer for it. I know we're going to get that. Like, that's just guaranteed. We're going to get some news about the game being made. Pokemon They're not the type of franchise where it's like the game doesn't look good. Let's hold off. They're not like Retro Studios with like Metroid Prime, right? They're just gonna release the game. I mean, we got Scarlet and Violet, but yeah. So I'm expecting some kind of trailer to drop, and I'm leaning towards it's February. Next month is March. I'm thinking it's either gonna be April or June. Like those are the 2 months I'm thinking. It could be May as well. I would probably prefer May. I like it when we get new stuff, but either summer or spring. I don't see it coming out in like August or July or anything. But that leads me into the next thing. What is their holiday 2025 release if not Pokemon Legends ZA? Now, Legends ZA is not going to be Generation 10. Like we need to get that just sorted out. The Legends games are not competitive Pokemon games, and they've already confirmed there's going to be no online for ZA, I'm pretty sure. Or not no online, but I'm pretty like there's still going to be trading. Like that's just like mandatory. But I believe that they've confirmed that there's going to be no battles. I might be wrong about that. Like no online battling like we have with normal Pokemon games. And that's fine. I really appreciate that the Legends games are just going to be purely story driven and single player experiences. I really enjoy that. I think it's good that Pokemon has both of these options where there's a single player game and then there's like the multiplayer game. But will Generation 10 drop in holiday 2025, aka this upcoming November? I am doubtful. I don't think it's going to drop in November. We haven't even gotten a first look at it. And I'm not sure what the timeline was between the first look at Scarlet Violet and the release of it. But I don't think it was February to November. I think we had like a whole year of hype. But maybe I'm wrong. But something to note is that we haven't heard from Ilka in a minute. And I really doubt that the release of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl being so scuffed was enough for Game Freak to say, we just don't mess with Ilka anymore. We're just not going to like work with that company from now on. I really doubt that. I don't think that's the case. I think that they had a rough release and Game Freak wants to maintain a relationship with them. And they're likely still working on a new game. What that game is has yet to be determined, but I don't think it's out of the question for Ilka to be working on some form of a Gen 5 remake game in the style of Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Maybe not in like the chibi art style, but like the same sort of deal where it's like exactly 1-to-1, but with like new online features and like the fairy type added. Because that's the thing with like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, people were disappointed that it wasn't Pokemon Platinum or even that it wasn't like Omega Ruby. Because here's the deal. Here's the cold water about to hit you. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl had its bugs, but all Pokemon games have their bugs, and they're still fun. I had a blast with Scarlet and Violet, and it's one of the buggiest Pokemon games ever. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl sucked because they were 1-to-1-ish remakes of Diamond and Pearl, which if you have only ever played Platinum or whatever, Diamond and Pearl sucked. Like those games were not incredible. I mean, some people grew up with them and they're like, their nostalgia for it is really carrying them. But you have to keep in mind, like I played Diamond and Pearl for the first time when I was 22 years old, and I played Emerald growing up. I like played up until Pokemon Emerald and then skipped until Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire and then continued. So there was like generations of Pokemon that I didn't touch. So when I touched like Diamond and Pearl for the first time, I'm like, oh my God, this is boring. It moves so slow and I just don't mess with the story. And then I picked up Platinum because I heard it was better. And I'm like, I mean, it's like kind of better. It's not like that much better. But when it was 1-to-1 of Diamond and Pearl and not Platinum, that's where the issues came, because people were like, oh, where's the Battle Frontier? I thought there was going to be a Battle Frontier. I was like, no, because it's Diamond and Pearl, not Platinum. Which people, you know, you can debate as to whether or not it should have been a Platinum remake, but yeah. Ilka, I think, can do an okay... Oh, also, I do want to point out that them not having all the online functionality really was dumb. They should have had that figured out before release. There's a lot of issues with that game, mechanically still. But I think that if Ilka was tasked with remaking Generation 5, I wouldn't doubt their ability to do it well. They had a game to practice. It was Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and I think that if they give Ilka the task of remaking Generation 5 for modern consoles as a mostly one-to-one remake, I think that they would do fine. So if I had to guess what the holiday 2025 release is, I think it's whatever Ilka's working on, because that would follow the pattern that we had last release cycle, where it was literally just Ilka is working on this like smaller game, Game Freak is working on the Legends game, and then the other Game Freak team is working on Generation 9. Like that was like the deal. And then now we're a generation later. We have a Game Freak team working on Generation 10. We know that to be the case because even though they haven't said the word Generation 10, like let's be so for real, we know it's coming. We have a Game Freak team working on Legends ZA, and we would probably have like an Ilka team working on some smaller project. And I do want to point out that I really doubt that there isn't going to be a holiday 2025 release, because if we look at Game Freak's history, it's rare that they ever miss a holiday release. In 2019, we had Sword and Shield. In 2020, we had the Sword and Shield DLC. In 2021, we had BDSP, and then afterwards, Legends Arceus. In 2022, we had Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. In 2023, we had the Scarlet and Violet DLC. In 2024, there was nothing. There was no like a mainline console release. Now, you could argue that they filled the gap with TCG Pocket in October because that was just always going to make money. But we really didn't have a holiday release this year. So it's really rare, and I don't think it's ever happened, where Game Freak misses a holiday release 2 years in a row. So there's going to be something. And I don't think it's Legends ZA because, like I said, it's probably spring or summer. But yeah, if Legends ZA is spring or summer, then in all likelihood, we're getting something, probably an Ilka title in 2025 around November. That being said, that 2025 release could be Legends ZA DLC, but also it could be this thing that has been leaked. I'm going to talk briefly about rumors here. Pokemon Synapse, or Synapse, it is a title that it's like a code name for the game. But there's some rumors about what it could be. There are some people saying that it's like a Pokemon Battle Stadium type game, which I would be down for. Imagine we literally just get Legends games from now on, and then like competitive goes on to like Pokemon Synapse, and it's just like we get updates and balance patches. That'd be so cool. I would really love that actually, if like we had like a long running Pokemon Stadium type game that is now the home for competitive stuff. I've been wanting that for years, like official Pokemon Showdown effectively. But the other things that this has been rumored to be is some kind of online MMO. And even someone said it was a Splatoon-like title, which I don't know how that would work. Maybe it's like Smeargle fighting, but yeah, that could also be the 2025 release. I'm sure we're going to get some news about that, and we just have to wait and see. I mean, it's Monday right now. I just want to get my thoughts out there. So yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about unfiltered my thoughts about the upcoming Pokemon Day, what I'd like to see. Let me know what you guys want to see in the comment section below. This isn't my usual type of video, but I wanted to put it out there. It's, you know, usually we'll have like video essays and stuff. So let me know in the comment section below what you want to see. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications. I will be live streaming my reaction for Pokemon Day and the Pokemon Direct here on YouTube and on Twitch. On the exact time it happens, so make sure you tune in Thursday for that, and I will see you guys in the next video, which is going to drop on Wednesday. We'll be talking about some EUIC stuff and just discussing how Koradon finally beat the allegations. So yeah, have a nice one. Bye.